Oh, looks like
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining our Public Safety Committee, Community Board 12. I'm Jumirna Colberg, Assistant Chair, and I'm here with some of our committee members.
hi, Jacob Annis.
Hello, Alvin Adams.
Sweet. And our chair, Elia said, is going to be virtual with us tonight.
Yeah,
I
can barely speak, but I'm here. Thank you, guys.
thank you. So let's go ahead and get started with some updates, any crime stats from our local precinct. So 33rd precinct, if you're present, you can set things off for us tonight.
Hi, I am Captain Dania Castro. I'm the new executive officer in the 33rd precinct. I've been here for a week, and I want to introduce myself to you guys. And if everyone could take down my phone number. If you have any community concerns, please reach out to me at 917-913-9857. So I'm excited to be here. I grew up in the neighborhood, and 20 years ago when I started the police department, I moved away, but now I'm back. Now I'm serving the community. So perfect. I grew up in the 3-4 when there was no 3-3. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So the 33rd precinct, what we've been seeing some issues in and around Highbridge Park on Edgecombe Avenue and Amsterdam Avenue. So we're dedicating our resources to put presence out around the park, especially now since it's getting warm. We're sending our community affairs officers as well as crime prevention to educate the public. Basically, don't walk around, without having situational awareness. There's people watching you, believe it or not, even though, you're going about your day. So the headphones in and, your phones, just be aware that we do have, unfortunately, mopeds where we're having robberies in the area, which are concerning to us. So we're putting our resource in and around the park for that. And we also have a spike in car break-ins. So we're asking the public pretty much when you do park your vehicle on Riverside Drive or anywhere else where there's not a lot of pedestrian traffic or lighting, just put all your belongings in your trunk. Don't leave anything out visible so that we can kind of like curb any property thefts. And again, I'm here for if you guys have any questions. Do you guys have anything for me? What else would you like to know about the 33rd precinct that's been going on during this, time period?
Go ahead, Isidro.
Thank you so much, Chair. Welcome to the community. I'm happy to say that 33rd Precinct has been coming a lot to the License Committee meetings, and I hope that under your leadership, you continue to have presence in our License Committee meetings. So welcome on board. And Chair, thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I have a comment and a question. Recently there's been a spike of crime in Central Park, targeting a lot of runners and joggers. In terms of Highbridge Park, are you seeing any increase in crime against runners or joggers or walkers, or what kind of crimes are we seeing in Highbridge Park?
So pretty much I'm not gonna say it's runners or joggers. It's more in and around parks, and the mopeds, the easy access to go back and forth. And of course, it is alarming because it could turn into someone getting hurt, actually, when you pull a phone away from somebody's ear or their purse. So I'm not going to say specifically targeting joggers. That I don't want to say. But we do have a problem where there's robberies involving mopeds where they're pretty much fleeing the scene very quickly. And we're addressing, these conditions by being out there, by doing, traffic enforcement where we confiscate mopeds. They are not registered. People who are on the sidewalk with mopeds. Again, that's how we're pretty much connecting the traffic portion of this with the crime portion, because we know that it's a small device and people are just walking on the sidewalks and they're pretty much, or in the park, and this, crime is occurring. So I can't say specifically it's targeting joggers.
All right, thank you so much and welcome to the community.
Thank you so much.
Chair, I did have a question, if that's okay.
Go ahead, Indiana.
Thank you very much. Thank you, officer, for that update. I'm sorry to join just a couple minutes late, but I was wondering if the police department had either like come up with a position or has been contacted at all about the mayor's proposal to allow certain businesses to be run out of apartment buildings through I think it's the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity, one of those proposals. Whenever I was listening to like a public hearing about it, there were a lot of community members who were concerned about that, especially given the fact that there's already a lot of package thefts and, like, I guess with this, more people would be allowed into the building. Has the PD chimed in about that at all, or?
I would have to get back to you because I have no information on individuals running businesses from their apartment.
So it would be like something new, I think, that the mayor's trying to like change different zoning requirements and things like that, so people could run certain small businesses out of their apartments. So maybe then, if nothing else, just putting it on your radar in case there is any opportunity. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have a question in regards to yesterday's incidents at City College. Was the 33rd precinct involved in any of the arrests, and is the 33rd precinct currently holding some of the protesters from last night's evening, both at City College and Columbia University?
Well, those incidents, they never got to the 33rd precinct. Basically, it was downtown at City College and Columbia and 116th Street. So it never made it here as a precaution. I know we have campuses here. What we're doing is, pretty much having high visibility at those locations. And we have barriers set in place just in case, as a precaution. If they do come up here, then we're ready for it. And we're ready to, follow the situation. As a matter of fact, I have to actually go out there. I know earlier today, we put the barriers out there. The supervisors were making sure that everything is in place and doing these periodic visits. And I want to go out there myself, actually after this meeting, and survey the area. But it wasn't related. It didn't come up here. It wasn't related to the confines of the 33rd precinct. And we're in constant communication with the public safety officers on 168th Street at Columbia University. We spoke to them yesterday. We were in constant communication as far as where the protesters were walking to, and it never made it to the 33rd precinct. We spoke again this morning, and that's the plan we put in place. Basically, we have to continually survey that area, put the barriers up, because we have to be prepared.
Thank you. Any other questions for the 33rd precinct? All right, thank you, everybody. Next, 34th precinct, if you are present with us tonight. All right, it seems like we do not have the 34th precinct with us tonight, and we'll circle back with them next month. FDNY, if you are here with us tonight, I see we have Sandra. The floor is yours, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Jumina. Good evening, everyone. Sandra Sanchez, FDNY Community Affairs. I'm glad that we're here this evening and also extremely happy that it's finally feeling like spring. Allow me to share some of the stats for the last month of April 2024. So for structural fires, there were 45. Non-structural fires in the confines of Manhattan Community Board 12, there were 24. Medical emergencies, 555. Non-medical emergencies were totaling 400, bringing the grand total of incidents in the confines of Manhattan Community Board 12 to be 1,024. Again, the grand total of incidents was 1,024 in Manhattan Community Board 12 for April 2024. Just want to bring your attention as we are firmly into spring. This is a great opportunity to do some spring cleaning, to be mindful of not blocking your points of egress. You may know, I always say, you may know that you have a chest in the hallway. No one else will know that but the persons that are living in your home. We want to get to you as fast as possible should there be an emergency, and you also would like us to get to you as fast as possible if there's an emergency. So we want to say, as you are spring cleaning, be mindful that all points of egress, be it the main door or even a window, which can be a secondary form of egress, make sure that it's not blocking there is access at all times. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Do we have any questions for the fire department today?
I do.
Go ahead, Jacob, and then we're going to go to Indiana.
Okay, thank you. Sandra, thank you so much for coming. I always really appreciate when we have folks from FDNY here. I was wondering if you could speak to, you said there were 1,024 incidents in April. Is that generally higher or lower than what we see? Like, can you give us a frame of reference for how high that number is?
Sure. There has been, particularly with structural fires, so the comparison would be for at this time last year. So in comparison to April 2023, there was you went down by 13.5%. Between. So there has been so here's the balance. There was a decrease in structural fires, also a decrease in non-structural fires, but there was a little spike of emergencies. And again, sometimes there are things that we are not able to control. I do know that certainly as the seasons are changing, there's a spike with some upper respiratory problems, usually around this time, but there's a slight tick upwards for medical emergencies. So that is general for this amount. And to put it in perspective, for the entire borough of Manhattan, there were 12,430 incidents.
Well, thank you. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Sandra. Indiana, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I have two questions unrelated to each other, but the first one was, I'm a wheelchair user, and when I first joined this committee, I had kind of asked a question if there was anything that we can do to like indicate that there's a wheelchair user in like my apartment unit, or if there's a way that we can like call our fire department that, specifically like the unit, I guess, that like handles my neighborhood. Is there anything like that for wheelchair users that we can kind of like flag our apartment?
Forgive me, I did check. I just never circled back, Indiana.
No problem.
As you were asking the question, I was like, yes, I did do some digging for that. So shame on me for not circling back with you. The difficulty is that we are not able to even though there are particular response units for every single area, but there is a chance that your primary response unit may be engaged in another incident at the same time in which you have need for emergency services. So that would not, it wouldn't necessarily work if it was just only housed within our one singular emergency response unit as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then my second question, it's more for the record, for our record. I also was wondering if you guys had heard anything about the City of Yes for Economic Opportunities, specifically the proposal where people could run certain small businesses out of the home.
Did we hear? Yes. Will I think as a result of this, we may be shifting the way in which our Bureau of Fire Prevention are facilitating inspections. Also, yes. So, and again, it certainly is on a case by case basis, but depending on what type of business it is, there are certain stipulations that one must abide by, not only to protect the business itself, but also the surroundings and the people that may be around it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question. Sandra, I have a question. Now it's getting warmer, and especially in the summer. Is there any way that, or maybe you have a one pager of like best practices that the community or just residents in general that we can do to avoid any incidents with fires or any trends that you may see? Like, do you guys have like a one pager that you can share with us?
I can share with you because there's not necessarily one seasonal, I would say spring or summer packet, but I can share some individually, but one pagers, particularly on cooking, lithium ion batteries, which is certainly no pun intended, the hot topic, continues to be the hot topic throughout the city. So I can share that with the office and they can distribute.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I see your hand is up, Indiana. Go ahead.
Yeah, so sorry. I had one more follow-up question. I was wondering sorry, I hear echo feedback. Okay, I don't know if there's anything I can just stop that, but okay, thank you. I was wondering if the fire department has any kind of guidance about how to like lock windows in a way that isn't either against the law or like a fire hazard. I was speaking with a friend who lives in a different borough, and they were having somebody like basically climbing their fire escapes and things like that. But I'm on a higher floor, but just in case, I would love to secure my windows. But I also heard, that there's like fire risk depending on what you use to lock your windows. So I didn't know if there was any kind of guidance that the fire department has about that.
I can do some additional digging, but what I do know on the surface is that when you are locking any area within your room, be it your bedroom, your door, your window, that may aid you in egress, you need to be able to have access to it. Most fires happen at night or like in the early morning when we are sleeping. So you need to be able to not only quickly get up, have quick access, know what, like you cannot second guess and say, where did I last put the key? Is it on top of the fridge? To where the fire, it needs to be close and nearby because again, seconds matter. So the recommendation that even if there may be like what may be like a extra gate or a bar like a bar per se, the person's in the home also. So if you are in a residential building, it cannot be that your super is the only one that has the key to the gated window. You need to have a key. Everyone in your house needs to know where that key is. Should they know how to quickly access it in a timely manner and get out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Barbara, I see you have a hand. Go ahead. You're muted right now.
Unmuted.
There you
Wanted
go.
to say first, in terms of safety devices in your home for the windows, you can contact the 34th or 33rd precinct, and their community safety officer can come to your apartment and do an inspection for you and advise you on what you should procure. And there are safety gates now which do not require a key. They're pressure release, and yet they're covered in such a way that an intruder cannot access the release. A little more expensive, but well worth it. Okay.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
also advise you on other ways, especially handicapped access, that are good for you. So contact your precinct, and a crime prevention officer will
Okay.
come to your apartment and do an inspection, and hopefully gather a few of your neighbors so we can do a few apartments at the same time. Also, in terms of general fire prevention, when I was on the police community council for the 34th precinct, once a year we would hold in different sites a fire safety, and someone from either the FDNY or would come, a special unit that's designed about fire prevention would come and give a presentation, hand out smoke alarms. Well, they hand out actually certificates to get a smoke alarm, because otherwise people were selling them, but would give out certificates and also other fire prevention things, like very good fire retardant potholders and things like that, and also discuss about how to prevent fire in your home and to look for fire possibilities, and close the door, which is the main factor in fire spreading to other apartments, and so forth. So really, I think it would be good if Community Board 12 could hold such a type community fair when there's some public, outdoor event. So that's what I had to say on that. If I could have one more minute, I would like to say I'm very disappointed that the 34th precinct isn't here tonight. I think we should call up and get them here on the phone. I'm very concerned because of the current rioting that's going on at Columbia, which they spread up to City College, and their slogans are not nearly free speech. They are "Go back to Poland," "We are Hamas," which is terrorist endorsing, um, uh, and so forth. And our 34th precinct especially is the home of uh, a multi-generational Jewish community which escaped the Holocaust, and is the home of internationally recognized Yeshiva University, and is also the home of, since the 1930s, I call it the Breuer School. I believe its name has changed to kindergarten through 8th grade yeshiva-based elementary school. And I would like to know what the 34th is doing to heighten the security and the safety for the many thousands of Jewish families which live in our community. I think it's absolutely derelict that they're not at this meeting tonight, and I think we should call them up and get them here and find out what they're doing to protect the safety of our community.
Thank you, Barbara. Tanisha, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Hey, hello everyone. Tanisha Grant, member of the community board. I would just like to say for the record that most of the students protesting are peaceful, and they have a right to their First Amendment to protest. So also let's hold space for them and their safety, and also let's hold space for our other, nationalities and other religions that are also going through it. So it should be about all of us and not some of us. And students have the right to peacefully protest. So I wouldn't call them riots, because that's not what they were. And we want to be very intentional about what we say out of our mouths, because it could be the harm of someone. Thank you.
I see Ms. Castro from the 33rd precinct, your hand is up.
Hi, I just wanted to give some information regarding the 33rd precinct. The reason why they're not logged on, the inspector, is because he is covering the Patrol Bureau Manhattan off duty tonight. So I'm gonna apologize for him. I know there's a lot going on right now, but I'm sure you're concerned, and I just want to let you know that he is the duty inspector tonight, and he's probably downtown. And when I say downtown, I mean, either at 116th Street or City College, wherever the protests are going on right now.
Got it, thank you. And that's one of the things that I was also wondering about, if either the 33rd or the 34th precinct is participating in the demonstrations pretty much. Barbara, sorry, I'm gonna have to keep on muting you because it's gonna clash and create an echo. So if you want to speak, just raise your hand so I could unmute you and you'll get the cue. We're trying to just figure out. So what I'm trying to figure out is, are the either 33rd or the 34th partaking in arresting folks at either of the colleges, and are they arresting and holding them in their precincts? That's pretty much, but you mentioned that the 33rd isn't, so I'm probably wondering if the 34th is holding people inside of their precinct, but I'm not too sure if you can answer that one.
I can't answer that. When we say partake, pretty much is if we got to get mobilized to preserve the peace. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that if there are any arrests, that we're going to bring them to this precinct or the 34th. But again, some of our resources are kind of being geared towards different locations and different events throughout the city. And the protests are one of those events.
And I do want to add to the record, in Washington Heights, Inwood, in this community, we also have Muslim families, community members who are Islamic, who own businesses, who go to our local schools, and they also need somebody to advocate and protect them. So if we're going to talk about faith, we should incorporate everybody and be as inclusive as possible, because we are a community and we don't know what people represent. We can't see somebody's faith in their face. We don't know what they are. So I would appreciate we are inclusive to everybody, and the resources and support should be available for everybody in our neighborhood that we representing, because we don't know what anybody's personal challenges are. So I would appreciate we can make this conversation inclusive, and not to diminish anybody, but it's important to also represent and speak about those voices that are not currently here. So that's just for the record.
Thank you for your leadership. I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you. All right, so I see we have present Brenda Brogadon, representing the Edgecombe Center facility. I'm sorry, on behalf of Superintendent Miller. So go ahead, Brenda. Floor is yours.
Good evening, rather, to everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Giving respect to what's going on in our city about now. Let's just remember, New York City, we're all family, and let's just treat each other like family members. On that note, I'm happy to say that Edgecombe has completed their 12th accreditation. We received a score of 100%. Currently, we have about 61 male residents, 3 female residents, and 12 work release participants. So Edgecombe is doing well. We're providing a service to the homeless community, so we are happy about that. And also on June 4th, we will be holding our annual tour of private citizens. If anyone is interested in coming to Edgecombe to see what we're all about, to visit the facility, June 4th will be that day. I believe the invitations have went out, but if you did not receive it, we will gladly extend the invitation to whoever is interested in attending. Our doors are open to you to come see what Edgecombe is all about. I thank you for this opportunity. Everyone have a great evening.
Thank you, Brenda. I do have an update, if you don't mind sharing it with Lieutenant Miller. So far, we have 3 community board members who have expressed interest. So I'll
Sure.
be sharing those names a little bit closer to the date because some folks are still trying to see if it fits their schedule. So just so you guys are aware.
All right, that would be great. If everyone could just, who's ever interested, to RSVP by May 24th.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
I see we have a hand. Barbara, is it for Edgecombe?
Yeah, how is the employment situation going for your new residents?
It changes, it varies. There's an echo, I believe.
Go ahead.
We did hire one resident. He's doing very well. They are going for interviews. We're planning a job fair for June. It depends. Some of the parolees, when they come to us, they have a specific skill set and they're able to find employment right away. Others who are considered long-termers who have been incarcerated for over 20 years, it tends to be more difficult for them, but they are very employable because they have the skill set from being incarcerated. They have multiple certifications and they're trained. Some of them are in the age range of 55 and older. So it's been a challenge, but we're working with them.
Barbara, you're muted.
Yeah, have they been able to get volunteer work as a transition if they've been unable to get paid work in order to have a schedule and so forth?
To my knowledge, right now, there has been no volunteer work. They really want to earn an income.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank
All right, do
you.
you have any more questions for Edgecombe? All right, sweet. I see we also have Fernanda Lujan representing our Manhattan District Attorney, Washington Heights office.
Good evening, everybody. So sorry. I just have one update on behalf of the BRAG, and that is on the new funding for the Manhattan community-based organizations to be able to work proactively to prevent youth gun violence. For the 3rd consecutive summer, the office will award $20,000 to community-based organizations to pay young New Yorkers stipend to participate in meaningful programming to either enhance or beautify public spaces that are mostly known for gun violence. We will be targeting the neighborhoods of Washington Heights and Inwood, Harlem, East Harlem, and the Lower East Side, as well as some NYCHA developments. And that would be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernanda. Do we have any questions for Fernanda?
Yeah, I have a question. Fernanda, thank you so much for sharing. How can organizations apply, and is there a time period, like a deadline?
Yes, so we're not, I believe we're not specifically with the committee, just to make sure that we're not really in the process of it. I can definitely give you the point of contact of the person who is in charge of this selection, and also to get you like the deadlines and such.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Indiana, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Thank you. This question may not be specifically for you. I think it's maybe for PD, but I heard that in the Bronx there's like a cat rescue group, and they have tried to raise the alarm that somebody that I believe is a resident in NYCHA housing is like training pit bulls to kill cats. And they're trying to raise like a lot of community support, but they said that they've been reporting it to the police quite a bit, and that they really didn't get a response from them. Is that something that like we should be reporting to police? Is there somebody else that should be reporting to? I mean, the videos that were posted online were horrible, horrible, horrible. And this community group says that they've been trying to get police engagement to try and, get that under control, but they just haven't had much of a response.
I personally haven't seen anything regarding the topic that you're saying with the pit bull training. But I can definitely share with you my email and I can get back to you with the response on that.
Okay, thank
Thank you,
you.
Indiana.
All right, thank
Can I
you.
make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Indiana, I wanted to make a comment in reference to your question. OC from the Health and Environment Committee, she does a lot of work with rescuing cats. So maybe that's someone that would have more information on that topic.
Yeah, that would be great. I recommended on their Facebook post that they get in touch with their community boards and sent them the link to their community board. And I think that they're also going to reach out to some of the elected officials and the city council members, but I know that they did a petition that was focused on the Bronx, but they said that they're also hearing reports of that happening in Upper Manhattan. And so it was completely new to me. I hadn't heard, but apparently this community is really they're finding dead cats everywhere. And the owner of some of these pit bulls is posting videos online, and I saw the videos and it's horrible. So, anything I can do to help. And I didn't know if they had been in touch at all, but in case they come to us, I guess just putting it on our radar.
Thank you. Just so you are aware, Fernanda did share her contact email in the chat. So if you want to take it from there. All right. Do we have anyone else who has any questions or remarks they want to add before we call the meeting to an end?
I have a remark.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the 33rd, I know the 34th is not here, but I just want to put it on the radar that near, it's not really La Marina, but near the quarter-sack at the end of Dykeman near La Marina, there's typically periodically, like after 5 p.m., there's a huge bunch of dirt bikes and cars. They go there, they do donuts, and it gets very chaotic. Like I lead a community group out there, and a lot of times, especially I would say starting Thursday, from Thursday to Sunday, there's just a bunch of like dirt bikes and rowdy crowds. So I just want to, put it on your radar. Not to ask for anything right now, but just put it on your radar periodically. I think that would be more for the 34th, but just advising for now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I have an item that's probably new business and an announcement as well. So, sorry, I got a couple of things, but new business wise, I wanted to raise a question that was brought up by one of our fellow community board members, Jody, and now I'm having a moment. I can't remember Jody's last name and I feel really bad. But Jody and I spoke at the last general board meeting, and she was saying that down near in the 160s area, I don't recall exactly where, she was having a conversation with Sean Abreu and somebody from the DOT about sidewalk lighting, because there's apparently an area down there that's quite dark. And I guess let me get to my point, is just we were trying to determine who's responsible for sidewalk lighting in dimly lit areas. And it sounds like it's probably DOT, but the statement that she had gotten back from them at one point was that they were only responsible for lighting well enough to safely drive, and not necessarily like sidewalk lighting to the point that it might help prevent crime or make people feel safe. And so I just wanted to raise that to this group and see if we could figure out like who's responsible for addressing lighting issues in the community in those instances. I know, for instance, like the area near 184th Street, by the 181A train station. It's very dark there by Overlook Terrace. And I would love to know more about like, how do we look at, making sure that the streetlights are there, that they're working. How is that handled? I don't know if anybody can speak to that for this group, but.
Go ahead, Ms. Castro.
So DOT is responsible for lighting as far as certain areas. If let's say traffic lights are out or anything vehicular wise, then we usually make notification. But you will probably be able to get in contact with maybe the neighborhood coordination officer from the 3-4, or again from the 3-3 and crime prevention, and they could actually connect you to those resources and whatever requests you have, or even for us to even get that information, where is it that there's a potential for a crime to happen and us not have good lighting, or good camera, because we could always request through our department for cameras. But lighting is important, especially, again, desolate areas where you don't have a lot of pedestrian traffic, where, there's a potential for issues. But please get in contact online. You should be able to find the information to the 3-4 precinct, or even, our community affairs. You could reach out to me. I just gave my phone number out at the beginning of the call, and we'll connect you to those resources.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. I'll follow up with Jody to gather the information about the location she was thinking of, and then do some own research on my own too about other locations. And sounds like I can follow up with the 33rd or 34th, depending on the spot. And I'll probably drop into traffic and transportation too. So this is helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, sounds good. Anyone else would like, I see Bienvenido from Assembly Member Al Taylor office is here. Is there anything you would like to share tonight with us? All right, I'm not getting anything from Bienvenido right now.
I did have my announcement too if you.
Say it again?
I do have an announcement too if we're looking for things.
And now we have an announcement.
Yeah, cool. So just sharing this on behalf of our former board member, Faye Florimon. The charity that she runs is hosting an event for National Police Appreciation Week. So that's taking place on Saturday, May 18th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the George Washington Educational Campus Auditorium. It's 549 Audubon Ave. And folks who are interested or for more information can email info@fehopecharity.org. So just spreading the word that that's going on. And it was good to chat with her recently. So
Thank you, Jacob. All right, anyone else before we wrap things up? I do want to say a special thank you to FDNY for joining us tonight. We really missed you on here, and we hope we get to see you more often. And congrats on your auntie journey. I saw Neldy Castillo was like unmuting himself. You can go ahead.
I apologize. Sorry about that. That's actually Lieutenant Cruz. I'm actually just logging in for Inspector Castillo just last minute because he's just dealing with something with the protest downtown. So if you have any questions for me, you could feel free to direct them my way. Sorry, but I'm just filling in for him. That's all.
Do you have any updates, crime stats for us to share tonight?
I don't have anything right now just because I'm kind of last minute filling in for him. But I just wanted to actually be able to relay any messages to him if need be.
Right. Go ahead, Indiana.
Thank you. Officer, I just wanted to put on your radar, and let you know, like the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity has a proposal where they would let more small businesses be run out of apartments and homes. And I was part of a public hearing, and there was a lot of community concern about the increased traffic coming into apartment buildings, and potentially that like adding on to the already huge issue of package theft. So I
Yeah.
didn't know if the NYPD had been in touch about that at all, if you have received any guidance of like what that would look like, if there's any role for the PD to play, but just kind of for the record, like want to put it out there and see what, if anything, PD has been told about that or plans to do to address if that does start to happen.
This is not something that's actually come up fairly recently in any of the meetings, but it's something that I could actually relay the message to Castillo about, but I've not actually spoken with him about yet.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you remind us your name, please? I'm sorry.
It's Lieutenant Cruz.
Thank you, Lieutenant Cruz.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Just briefly, also to answer Indiana, the state legislature just passed something that will strengthen package theft laws. So check into that. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what I'd asked before. Was the 34th taking some measures to ensure the safety of our prominent Jewish institutions here in the district of Yeshiva University and the elementary school on Bennett Avenue, which then will strengthen for, all residents of the area,
Yes, so what we've
given
actually
the
been doing,
recent protests and disruptions.
so on Fridays and Saturdays, we have extended patrols that we do. We hold officers from the precinct, and they'll actually do patrols at these synagogues itself. During the middle of the week, we're actually going to also increase more or less between 12 and 8 o'clock on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We're going to actually have additional foot posts, just more in contact with Yeshiva University. They will actually be posted specifically there on foot with direct contact with Yeshiva University. Additionally, on top of that, we have on every tour, we're going to have supervisors, because we do have all 3 tours. We're going to have a supervisor stop by at Yeshiva University and at some of the synagogues and actually do patrols at some of the synagogues. I've been actually in contact with the barrier section just in case we do have any pop-up or random protests. And what we're going to do is also request additional barriers and whatnot. And we do have personnel on standby just in case something like that does happen. We're already in preparation with barriers and whatnot to kind of keep the school itself safe, like Yeshiva University and some of the other locations. But we've already kind of allocated personnel.
What about the elementary school? Because the kids play outside on Bennett Avenue during the day.
Yes, and we also have coordination officers. They actually do school dismissals, and they're also directed to actually do patrols at these schools, these locations also.
Any patrol for some of our Muslim businesses, Islamic businesses? Any services for them? Any safety provided for them?
Just specifically to her question, every house of worship that's in the confines of Washington Heights is on our list. Every single location on that list will have its visits. But just specifically to what she said, yeah, we do have Yeshiva University, but all the other synagogues and whatnot, the churches, Catholic churches, any house of worship will have its opportunity to be on that list, and we'll have visits that are actually documented, where we have the officers go out. They have a car, usually 2 at a time. We have them with their lights on. We ask them to exit the vehicle and try to interact with anyone who the establishment's open and actually speak with them at the location.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hello, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I mentioned it earlier, but I just wanted to put it in your radar. I lead a community group, and typically when it's warmer weathers, the area located near the Hudson restaurant on the cul-de-sac at the end of Dykeman, formerly known as La Marina, typically gets crowded with a lot of dirt bikes. So a lot of crews with dirt bikes, they typically pass by there. They're typically pretty rowdy, And we lead a group promoting health and wellness, and we have a lot of females and just a lot of, just in general, a lot of community residents that feel unsafe. So just throwing it on your radar. Also cars as well. They go there, they do donuts. We haven't seen any drag races, but it's one of those things where starting on Thursdays, from Thursday to Sunday after 6, that particular area becomes kind of like a hangout spot, which is not that big of a deal, but it's typically a rowdy crowd, and it really discourages a lot of our residents to go out there and take advantage of these beautiful parks.
Okay, so what we actually already implemented, roughly around 5:30, we have about 4 cops that come in. So by 6 o'clock, they're already deployed into the streets. So we're gonna have 2 cars, 4 cops total that are specifically going to be around to address these issues. Noise complaints, quality of life, but mainly by La Marina, but George Washington High School. We know that they like to go back and forth between the 2 locations, but to specifically address a lot of these concerns that you have. But that was already discussed with Inspector Castillo, and we already have a team set in place. It's about 4 right now, but that's their sole purpose, that they're not really, their sole objective is to address these quality of life concerns.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, thank you so much, Lieutenant Cruz. All right, we don't have any more questions or remarks.
Okay.
We can go ahead. I'm sorry. So we don't have any more questions or remarks. We can call the meeting to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Yes, I moved.
Thank you, everybody. It's nice to see you all, and we hope to see you next month. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Everybody.
Thank you.